Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So today you're going to come along with me to ProSmoke, where Evan and Roy of LeRoy and Lewis and Bradley Robinson from Chuds BBQ are doing a meet and greet. And as an added bonus, Dave from Wilson Barbecue is going to cook a ton of amazing barbecue. So the ProSmoke shop is based in Banbury, and that's just outside Oxford. And Ollie and his team import a lot of US barbecues and pits and pretty much anything else you might want from a barbecue point of view. And it's definitely worth a visit in person or to visit their online shop. Now they say you should never meet your heroes as you're just going to be disappointed, and it's fair to say I definitely wasn't. Brad was just like you see him in the video, a larger than life character with so much barbecue skill, it was crazy, and you can see why he's shaping barbecue for the better. And Evan was such an inspiration to talk to. He just had a wealth of knowledge, his passion was incredible, plus he was actually interested in what I was doing and what I thought, and to be honest, both of them were just really cool guys to meet. Now in this video you'll see the guys talk about their history, how they met and how they've gotten to this point in their barbecue careers. They talk about how they came to develop the famous L&L Burger, which I got to try and it was amazing. They also discuss loads of things barbecue, including lamb, and later in the video Evan gives a masterclass on how you should slice a brisket, so you really don't want to miss that. I've talked enough. Let's get into this video and you guys can watch these legends in action.
Here for a class yesterday and then now this meet and greet, and this is honestly like one of the funnest parts of the entire job for me, is just like meeting people from different places, talking about barbecue, sharing our stories, like sharing tips and anything like that. So if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. I want to interact with every single one of you guys today, so please, everything's open, no secrets anywhere. I hope you guys enjoy the food. Go for it.
Let's grab some wings and some tacos.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Brad and I used to work together at a restaurant called Freeman's, a barbecue restaurant, whiskey bar, cocktail bar. Yeah, that was a good spot. In West Campus near University of Texas in Austin. And when I left to open LeRoy and Lewis, Brad stayed on. He led that restaurant to make the top 50 lists, and then shortly after departed and then joined us at the food truck. And his charge when he came to work with us was to essentially like lead the evening service and kind of help come up with items for a dinner menu that we could feature, that could be like, you know, things that really could draw people there, and that we wanted to use like other kind of scraps that we had, and kind of like quick cooking items as well. So at the time we had sliced beef cheek, we had some sliced pork options, we had a pork sausage on the menu. We didn't want to add another beef sausage to the menu with all these extra beef scraps. So we kind of thought about doing a burger, and kind of thought that reverse searing or smoking one would be a good idea. There were some smoked burgers kind of on menus around Texas at the time, but none of them like really cooked it and got that like really good hard sear on it. And that was kind of at the advent of smash burgers as well, so everybody was doing thin patties, and if they were smoking them, they were just doing them just on the smoker, and there was no crispy caramelization, there was no Maillard, it was just like straight smoky all the way through, and it was almost like a steamed beef. It was just like, yeah, didn't look great.
It didn't have the texture, and it didn't eat like a burger. Almost more like a meatloaf.
Exactly. So we took kind of a barbecue approach to the burger. We used our ground beef from briskets. We seasoned the exterior really heavily like a brisket. We smoked it offset like a brisket. And then we seared it to get a really, really good crust. And the way that we seared it, looking back, is absolutely ridiculous. We had this big, heavy plancha that fit really well inside of our firebox. Like it just like, you know, fit the curvature of the firebox really well. So we would make a big bed of coals, put the plancha on there, and cook like 6 burgers at a time, and that's like all we did for dinner service, right?
Did it in the snow,
yeah,
did it in the rain, did it on these hot days, and that thing was ripping hot. We cracked one in half. We're talking like a cast iron 24-inch, just big, thick cast iron griddle. We snapped one in half because it got so hot.
Yeah, it got very, very high. We had to like take multiple towels or even a shovel to try to kind of like put it in and put it out.
The maneuver was.
Yeah, you can kind of
walk around. It's like 900 degrees.
But there's so many interesting and cool things about this burger that make it unique. I think that the super fatty grind helps it stay really moist. The way that we hold it We hold it with cheese on top and like on a tray where a little bit of that fat seeps out on the bottom, so it stays juicy from the top and the bottom. We also cook it to the right temperature. We cook it to like 120 and then sear it up to about 130, which is kind of like a medium burger. It also has that super crusty, peppery kind of like sear on it. It's also topped like a fast food burger. So it's like when I go to fast food restaurant and I want a burger, I want grilled onions and pickles and special sauce and cheese, and that's pretty much it. I don't want to mess with any like fresh vegetables on there if I'm eating, you know, a burger. So it kind of combined the best of both worlds, and it was barbecue and it served all of our purposes. And it kind of happened without us like knowing all of those things at the time.
Right, yeah. The weirdest thing is when I look at that burger, it doesn't make sense in so many different directions.
Yeah.
Because we take it, we dunk it in a bucket of seasoning. It's gonna be too salty, it's gonna be too peppery. You take a bite, you're like, that works.
Yeah.
And then you hot hold a medium burger, and it like I pulled them out like the next day, like ones I didn't sell, and breaking them open to put them in chili or something. They're still pink.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then just the smoke flavor comes through, like you get a smoke ring on the burger in like 30 minutes, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it all just comes together for like a bite that is far better than like the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
When you look at it, if you just see a picture, you're like, that's just a fine burger. And then when you eat it, like this is a different burger.
It's a true barbecue burger.
Yeah. And not like a gimmicky barbecue burger, like covered in sweet sauce or something like that.
We do have one of those on the menu.
Yeah. With the knife sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Covered in onion rings. Well, there's a word for that too.
But yeah, it's also one of the easiest things you can make at home, because like even if you have the smallest smoker, you can fit a few burgers on there for the fam and then sear them. So it's a really good kind of introduction to like cooking the way that we do and kind of like thinking about barbecue a little bit different. Yeah. Anybody have any questions about burgers, about barbecue, about anything? We can kind of open it up to like
Choice of bread.
I like Martin's potato bun.
But if I didn't make my own buns, it'd be Martin's all day long.
Martin's potato bread, super good.
Closest to getting brioche, real sweet.
Yeah, brioche can be sweet, and if you're toasting it, it can burn really quickly too. Any kind of potato bun, like I feel like any potato bun.
We got like flour rolls.
The Irish, they got plenty of potatoes.
You guys are gonna have to start baking it.
Need someone to make
Yeah, I mean, I don't like a shaker either. I mean, no hate to the shaker because it's comes. Definitely buy it.
If you watch the video, I'll pour it in my hand.
Yeah.
Shake it that way. I'm not a shaker guy either.
Why isn't there much appreciation for land in America?
Because they're dumb.
Question. That's a good question.
Bums me out so much.
I don't think Americans like strong flavors, and I think that a lot of the lamb we get is pretty strong in flavor. A lot of American lamb has kind of that like funkiness, gaminess, lanolin flavor to it. Yeah, we've got cheeks ready. The best bite, like kind of our version of the fold over, right? Fold over Texas barbecue, slice of white bread, brisket, pickle, onion, barbecue sauce. The LeRoy and Lewis version is a slice of Martin's potato bread with beef cheek, kimchi, beef barbecue sauce, and it's just an incredible bite. Funky from, the funkiness of the kimchi kind of meets that funkiness of the beef cheek. All the kind of pepper gets balanced out by the kimchi. It's got the perfect little vessel with the potato bread. A bit of HP on there.
See, I worked on that food truck for like 5 years cooking beef cheeks, and I got sick of everything on that menu. Like, not a day went by where I wouldn't have like a beef cheek, kimchi, and barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's a great fold over.
With the lamb, is it because of the lamb in America, is it older? Because lamb here is under a year, then you have hogget, which is over a year, then you have mutton, which is even older than that, like 2 years.
Yeah.
Is it because of the age of the meat that you get, as opposed to mutton's a lot stronger taste than lamb?
Yeah, mutton is a lot stronger taste. I've cooked it before, and it's pretty intense. But we usually, I think in America, it's the same kind of thing. The lambs are usually under a year.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's like a solid answer for why we don't eat much lamb in America. I know I love it. I would eat a lot more of it if it were around. It seems that like even at the restaurant, when we have a bunch of it on the menu, it's like day to day, it's either all sells out instantly or we're sitting on it all day. So it kind of depends on the person. And we've even had some people you know, make specific trips to our place just to get lamb, and we're like, sorry, you know, nobody was buying it, so we kind of not doing it. And then they're just so angry. So it's like, yeah.
So when you do lamb, what do you do with it? What's the normal way you cook it?
So we would take the shanks off and save those, and for the shanks we will smoke them, braise them, turn the braise into a really nice gravy, and then kind of like serve that as a single piece. For the rest of it, we'll break it into quarters essentially, and then we will smoke it, direct heat, kind of like our hogs.
Yeah.
And then we will put that into a pan kind of like this but taller, to like finish braising, and it's going to braise in the previous week's lamb stock, because we take all the bones and make a stock with it, in addition to some ancho chilies, garlic, bay leaves, onions, and then we'll pick all the meat and mix in a little bit of that jus and make barbacoa, lamb barbacoa. Anything else, guys?
I was wondering what your impression has been of British beef.
This is my impression of British beef. Moo.
A lot's said obviously about the difference between American and British beef, obviously ours being a lot leaner than what you guys get. And I guess some of the challenges that we have as a result in terms of smoking briskets that are quite lean. If you know, what's been your impression?
You're talking mostly about grain-fed versus grass-fed. When you're talking about the difference between American beef and kind of like British, or even when we were in Ireland, Irish beef. And if I'm cooking barbecue, long smoke, tough muscle, breaking down, I want a lot of fat, and I probably want grain-fed beef.
American barbecue beats American beef a lot of the time.
Yeah, if I'm cooking a steak, then I am more interested in a little bit of beefier flavor, right? Because the grain will mute that natural beefy flavor that the cows have. It has to be good grass-fed beef. Like, they have to be eating good grass. The grass in Texas is scrubby and hard and yellow and dry, and that's what the grass-fed beef tastes like. It's really strong. It tastes almost like mutton. And then, you know, look at the grass here, and it's lush, and it's beautiful, and it's green, and it's soft. It looks almost good enough to eat by itself. I know Brad does a lot on the videos for camera. It is one of my biggest pet peeves. Do not pour this shit on top of here. You're gonna ruin the crust that we worked so hard for. Okay? Oh no.
That's why I say oops, oh no.
It's so good. It's so good. Here, I'll show you what to do with this juice in a second. But bottom feels great. Is you want to be able to like fully separate, almost separate those meat fibers, but it's holding together under its own weight. Another thing, this is nicely rested because I can just hold it indefinitely. If it's too hot to hold, it's too hot to cut. So when cutting it, we're just going to go, first of all, just bisect right in half. We're going to do that right where the mohawk ends, right there. This is where we kind of dug out that piece of fat. That's basically the separation between lean and fatty. When I'm cutting this, I'm cutting it like a loaf of bread. I want to not press down too hard because you're going to smush the bread. I want to use long, even strokes, the full length of the knife, a nice, sharp, 12-inch scalloped slicer. Get through the crust. You can hear that crust, that foil boat. Get through the meat, and then at the very end, drag the tip of that knife. And there we go. Voila. Nice and juicy. Looks super good. Beauty. Even though this is already super juicy, the best thing to do with this stuff over here, by the way, perfect cook on it, is do this. Just dunk those in there. Look at how juicy that looks now. You guys gonna start doing pico on here? I'm going like about the width of a pencil, a number 2 pencil. Probably just about 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch. I want to make sure that this part of the knife and this part of the knife are lined up so we're not getting any wedge pieces. I want to make sure that I'm keeping and resting the side of the knife against the part of my thumb and also my finger there to make sure that I'm getting as close as I can. You're talking about serving all the way up until the end. I mean, that's still pretty juicy, and it's even going to be better when we give it a roll in the fat. I think we probably have enough burn ends here for everyone also. Speaking of burn ends, that looks great. That looks really, really good. And we trimmed it correctly. We took out that big chunk of fat. It's not just like staring at us right there.
Everybody's gone silent.
It's a nice looking fatty.
That looks great. This, I mean, I might take a bite. This brisket looks really good. That looks a little bit overcooked, but
Dave.
we were trying to push on it a little bit yesterday so we could hit the pubs.
You don't need to be that on it.
They need to stay moist. So these are, they don't have a fat cap, but they have like really nice marbling and internal kind of like gelatin. So anything, you know, you could even like wrap them in paper, but the paper's gonna get sticky. The way that we used to do them is cook them in a big batch, put them in these like high density plastic bags, and then reheat them. Is kind of the idea, the crust that we're going for here. You can see it's fully coated in pepper, but it's pretty like soft and wet and hydrated, and that pepper's going to be muted a little bit because of that steam. This is what like the crust on, or like what the fat on like a paper wrapped brisket like feels like. Okay. With that soft pepper. Where we're going for the crunchy pepper with the foil boat. We want the soft pepper crunchy. So yeah, shout out any questions you have about cheeks while I carve these up. They look really nice. I mean, so juicy, that kind of gelatin broken down. That's really what you're after right there. Looks fantastic. Styles. All the way from Dublin, Ireland to Banbury, UK.
Now after watching this video, if you feel inspired and want to make a brisket as good as the one that Evan sliced, then check out my brisket video in which I will show you the steps you need to take to get a perfect brisket. Now smash that subscribe button and go watch that video.